Like my colleagues who have spoken before me, I want to thank the member for Macarthur for moving this important motion. Excuse me. Just get myself sorted. And anyone who's met or spent any time with the member for Macarthur knows of his genuine, deep commitment to all things health, but particularly to this first 1,000 days initiative. And it's a privilege to be in the Labor caucus with him. It's incredibly disturbing to know that more than 1.2 million Australian children live in poverty. That on census night in 2016, almost 20,000 children aged 0 to 14 were homeless. That almost 22% of Australian children enter primary school developmentally delayed. We're a rich and prosperous country, as speakers gone before me have said, and most of the children in Australia do very well. But there are far too many that don't. And there are far too many children from lower socioeconomic communities that are condemned to intergenerational poverty that the research suggests starts before birth. And that's why the first 1,000 Days initiative is so important. In my state of Victoria, the Royal Children's Hospital in 2019 put out the research paper, Strong Foundations, Getting It Right in the First 1,000 Days, which was a collaboration between the Centre for Community Child Health at Murdoch Children's Research Institute, the Australian Research Alliance for Children and Youth, Bupa Australia, the Bupa Health Foundation and PwC Australia. And you can find that report on the Royal Children's Hospital website. And the objectives of Strong Foundations was to raise awareness amongst government and policymakers and the public about the importance of the first 1,000 days, because as that report said in 2019, new knowledge unveiled has served to increase experts' view of the significance of those first 1,000 days and the urgent need to reform policies, practices and systems in response to the evidence. To ensure decisions that affect children and families are based on the best available evidence, and to ensure all steps that can be taken to improve early life for Australian children are identified and implemented as soon as possible. As I stand here in November of 2021, one has to question whether those objectives have been answered. The report synthesised current Australian and international evidence, as of 2019, on the biological, social, global and environmental influences on development. The report showcased the economic benefits to society of investing in the first 1,000 days. I have to say, I think that the moral and ethical arguments for doing so should be enough to convince anyone, but for those who need further convincing, the economic arguments are also strong. The modelling showed significant potential benefits to society of improving outcomes for children for the first 1,000 days. Looking at the impacts of antenatal care and home ownership on that time, using smoking during pregnancy and housing stability as measures, the report revealed that if every child in Australia grew up in a stable housing situation, the potential annual benefit to Australia would be an estimated $3 billion. The key findings included that the age, health and wellbeing of both mother and father prior to the child's conception affect the integrity of the embryo from the very beginning. Fetuses use cues provided by their mother's physical and mental states to predict the kind of world they will be born into and adapt accordingly. So what happens in the first 1,000 days affects the whole body, with potentially profound consequences over the life course. The report found that disadvantage can be passed down through generations at a cellular level. Our biology changes in response to stress, poverty and other prolonged adverse experiences, and these changes can be passed on to children from their parents and grandparents. In addition to loving caregivers, children need safe communities, secure housing, access to green parklands, environments free of toxins and access to affordable nutritional foods. Exactly what a good federal government would be focusing on. And I'm proud of Labor's policies about childcare, about supporting Medicare, our detailed policy about a housing future fund. If we don't invest in our communities and our children for the first 1,000 days, we are condemning too many people to the cycle of intergenerational poverty and disadvantage, and we can't do that.